Hey guys, welcome back. And today we're going to go over interviewing white women at the rally to ban all guns. It's from the channel Nuance, bro. He kind of does looks like man on the street type stuff. Go to his channel, check him out, like and subscribe to his, but also like and subscribe to ours. And let's get into this.
Well, what about 6 through 12?
Okay, 6 through 12.
It's not the number one cause.
Do your homework.
Yeah.
Well, it's if 1 through 17.
Do you need a break for a second?
Yeah, it's not helpful.
So I don't think that this is going to be helpful to what we're doing here today.
Yeah, this is
we
a little
really
bit
want to.
adversarial.
We would like
I'm
to
with you.
keep a really calm environment, and these debate type of questions are not going to be helpful
Yeah,
to
we're not
anybody.
here to debate. We're
Well,
Okay.
I'm not trying
So
to.
we are going to
Yeah.
respectfully ask that you don't be asking these types of questions.
All right, guys, we're here in Colorado at the state capitol in Denver at the Here for the Kids rally to ban guns and buy them back. They want to get the governor to do an executive order to ban guns. And it's about 5:20 a.m. in the morning.
What city did he
this
say
is
he
the
was
crowd we
he was
have.
out
If
of?
you want to pan around and take a look.
What city did he say he was out of?
Denver.
Denver. Okay, that makes sense. That checks out.
So let's go talk to people, see what's going on. So why are we out here today?
We are white women who realize that our communities of color don't have the power and voices to make change around gun control when they're the most impacted communities. And so in honor of those individuals who we care about and see that are impacted the most by gun violence, we want to use our power and privilege in order to make a change and really pressure our politicians and those who lead our government to make change around violence, especially gun violence, and asking them to really take a look at what they can do to make a difference, which is buying back guns and banning guns, so that we can stop the violence, especially here in Colorado where we have the highest number of mass shootings. And most of us are mothers who have children who are in schools. And it's been, I think, a little too close to home this year with shootings at East High School. And so that is one reason I'm here. It's just the impact on our local community this year alone. But the number of mass shootings just keeps increasing and we need a change.
Surely people of color have been able to come together to affect change before, right? Because it seems to be the implication is, because of their skin color, they're not able to affect change like we white people are, sort of thing?
I would say yes, that collectively there is change, but when you look at what the history of where guns have come from, it's rooted in white supremacy. It has been used as a way to keep marginalized populations down. And so when you finally are able to unpack that and say, as a white person, I want to dismantle white supremacy and acknowledge that my skin color and my privilege is part of the issue, I want to then help the communities that are marginalized in unifying their voices and ours as one, but recognizing that I come from a place of power and privilege that minority populations may not come from, and being able to say, how can I amplify your voice because I have that power and privilege? So how can I help you get your message across to actually make that change? Not to diminish any type of movement that our marginalized communities have been doing for decades and centuries, but really making it more of a socially conscious change around the white supremacy piece.
Sure. I mean, it seems like from the white supremacist perspective that when it comes to guns and minority communities, that the main thing in order to control those populations has been gun control, not like gun rights per se. Like, what do you mean when you say like gun rights, white supremacy? Like, how does that go together?
Well, so if you look back, so our Constitution did not have any minorities who helped build our Constitution. They didn't help write it. It was all men who were white men. It wasn't women, wasn't white women, it was white men. And they put into place the Second Amendment for militias, and they used those militias to enforce white male dominance on our native populations. If you were in Texas, it was on the Mexican populations. It was during slavery. It was individuals of color that they brought over to work as field hands and make money off the backs of those individuals. So all of the guns from the very beginning in our country have been in place by white men and white supremacy in order to keep individuals from marginalized populations down. So that's kind of what I meant by that.
But it seems like, even going back earlier than that, before the Second Amendment was even put into place, we had gun control laws in the country that were aimed at like slave populations, marginalized communities. They basically said only white people could have guns. And it seems like even today, well, if black people have the right to own guns, and you have many civil rights groups, black civil rights groups, you had the Black Panthers back in the day, Malcolm X talked about the Second Amendment in very favorable terms, the Congress on Racial Equality, they even did like an amicus brief in the Heller case. It seems like gun rights is very rooted in African American history as part of their liberation, whereas gun control has been used as the tool of white supremacy to keep that population down, is it not?
I think that something you have to look at is that those populations are also arming themselves against white supremacy. So if you think about it, let's look at it in a different context. So I would say, to your point, possibly, yes, we were putting in gun control in order to control populations, but populations that were using guns in order to defend themselves against those oppressors. So in a sense, we created our own evil.
Okay. All right, I've had quite enough of that. This is a 1 hour long video.
Do they sell tags for black people and hunting licenses in Colorado? What kind of nonsense is that? I mean, it's like it acts like only people who have guns in America are white people, especially white men, and they want to go out and they want to oppress blacks with them. Like we're walking down the street, right, telling our neighbor to get back in their house because they're not white, and we point a gun at them. It's insane. It's absolutely ludicrous. As the blacks have the same laws, same rights as any white person or any Hispanic person in this country, and she's arguing a 200-year-old plus argument that was settled during the Civil War, and then actually it took a while to institute because the Democrats in the South still were pushing against blacks having equal rights.
Right.
But her argument's ridiculous. And I wonder where they send these guys. Is this the college education they're getting to get brainwashed?
Man, just trying to break down her argument, and I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt because she's just not screeching like they usually do. She's trying to come up with some kind of an argument. Sure. But the problem is she's trying to have her cake and eat it too. So if the answer to fighting white supremacy, let's just take that on an assumption. If white supremacy is the big evil, then why would you want to hold on, give me a second to come back. All right. Yeah. Why would you want to get rid of remove the weapons of the minorities if it's that big of a problem? Because at the end of the day, if the white people in power, right, if that's what we're going to call them, the white people in power decide that they're going to remove the guns, do you think the white people in power are going to remove the guns from themselves? Or are they going to keep the guns for themselves and then just remove the guns from everyone else? Just on her premise alone, the logic doesn't play. You can't choose to just say, okay, well, minority, let's just pass a law that pulls all guns away. You'll never pull guns away from the rich. It didn't work in Egypt. It didn't work in China. It didn't work in North Korea. It didn't work. I mean, name it. They name the country where the victor of the supremacists, right? Mm-hmm. Where the supremacists, Castro was pro-gun. He was pro-arm every single person, right? And then when he got into power...
Oh, he got power.
And then he ripped all the guns from every single person and put them into... So you have to go and assume that the people in power are going to always maintain their weaponry because they can't control you otherwise. So her argument, just going off of her argument alone, is that the minority, that the Second Amendment is for white supremacy. Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what it says on the Constitution. I'll have to read it again.
Yeah, I know.
The Second Amendment, because.
But just on the concept, right? It's like, okay, well, the Second Amendment only really applies to white people, because because black people can't get the Second Amendment. They don't get guns. Well, we know that's not true. That's not the case. But if our argument is that if we got rid of the Second Amendment, that would remove all the guns from the country. That is just not the case. That is factually incorrect across the board, using every single other country on the planet, including, our darling sister country, Great Britain. The very powerful all have weapons. Really, really well armed. Australia, extremely well armed. Canada, extremely well armed. The populations of those, meaning the citizenry, well, they're not. And if your country is, quote unquote, ruled by white supremacy, then by taking away the Second Amendment, you are lending credence to said white supremacy. So her logic is completely flawed. And I think she's seeing the government as an arbiter of truth and an arbiter of, like, safety. But the problem is historically that has never been the case in every single other country in the history of the world. The government.
I got to tell you, most the shootings in America that involve race are black on black.
Right.
It's not white on black, and sometimes it's black on white. I mean, it goes both ways, And these they take these issues and try to divide everything up by race, which is racist on the face of it.
Correct.
Instead of facts, okay, well, percentages of this and percentages of that, it always breaks down to race. But yet, here we have this gracious white woman who's gonna, and all these other white people who are gonna actually take care of the downtrodden poor blacks who can't speak for themselves or can't buy their own firearms to defend themselves because the white slave owners that run America or in America, like the president we had. 3 elections ago, because he was such a white racist. Oh, wait a minute, that was Barack Obama. It's just a ludicrous argument, and it's meant to divide, and it makes this gal here obviously is pumping up her ego some, that she's gonna do something good, that she's gonna make sure that those poor black people who can't get out of their own way, can't look after themselves, same people she probably thinks can't get a photo ID to show when they vote, I mean, oh yeah, because that's too hard for them. We're going to take care of them. What, are you going to set them on your knee? I mean, what kind of crap is that? It's nonsense. Right. As the blacks have every opportunity given to a white person, is actually even more, and because when you go into even the college entrance exams and such, is where their acceptance is there's cutouts for minorities, and so it's a ludicrous argument, and frankly, I'm really tired of it. Everything breaks down to race with the Democrats. It's race. You get near an election, race. Bad guns. White people. Well, that's a racist statement on her own. She's generalizing like every white man is a racist. And we're all members of the Klan. Oh, wait a minute, that was the Democrats, the Southern Democrats, who were members of the Klan. Oh, well, sorry. Well, it's those darn white guys now, and it's nonsense. Yeah. I mean, I just drove by Arlington Cemetery yesterday. We're down in D.C. and I was thinking about it. And where is Arlington Place? It's on the Lee estate, right? It was a Southern slave owner, right? The general in the Civil War, for those who don't remember, and their history. And what happened is our government took that land of his estate and then made it the graveyard for all who fought in the Civil War, and matter of fact, in war since. Right. But there are a lot of white guys buried in there too who fought in the Civil War to help also free the slaves. That was part of the Civil War, right. And that we fought in this country. And for her to act like every white guy with a gun is the enemy, really? The Union Army? I mean, I hate to tell you, lady, but you need to study your history and get off the ding dongs and just realize that I know some very intelligent black people who would be completely offended by her proposition that these white people out here have to do it for them, because on the face of it, it's racist. What she's saying, it's absolutely racist. It's like they can't do it for themselves, and it's nonsense. I know plenty of black gun owners. I know plenty of Hispanic gun owners, and I served with both when I was in the Marine Corps, and others, Asians as well. And I never heard of one of them talk about worried about the white guys coming down their street and shooting them because they're black, and that they couldn't defend themselves. I mean, it's a nonsensical argument, but they believe it, and they're getting it out of the colleges they go to and out of the public education, and then they run with it, and then they think they're gonna get all these gals get together and think, well, we're gonna end all the violence. Really? Really? So you're gonna do that? Well, go tell that to Putin.
Right.
Tell that to whatever his name is, the president of Ukraine, that you're gonna end the violence. Right? It's nonsense.
Right.
Absolute nonsense.
All right, guys. If you like this content, comment down below, like and subscribe, and see you guys on the next one.
Semper Fi.